So let's discuss the outcome of this phone call a bit more with Maria Zolkina, who's a Ukrainian researcher and also a public policy analyst and head of the Regional Security and Conflict Studies at the think tank, the Democratic Initiatives Foundation. Thank you very much for being with us. How do you see the results of this from a Ukrainian standpoint?
Good evening. That was very much expected that Putin will try to demand as many concessions on the side of Ukraine as possible, because he knows that Trump is eager to have a ceasefire as such, without details on how the ceasefire will be monitored and whether it will be stable or not. And we basically have seen the proof for that tactics on the side of Russia to be preserved in practice. And we should expect that Russia will still try to make US president demand specific compromises when it comes to military aid to Ukraine and sharing intelligence data to Ukraine, in order to make Ukraine as a weaker, so to say, party in this triangle between US, Russia and Ukraine to agree to what Russia is demanding in order to, so to say, agree to the ceasefire.
Do you think Mr. Putin is serious about peace, wants a ceasefire?
Absolutely not. We have been witnessing that Russia is gathering, let's say, kind of resources they have on the ground in order to push harder when it comes to Kharkiv region, Zaporizhia region, and especially Sumy region, which is on the very border with Russia and which is being devastated and has been being devastated from day to day. So that's the Russian logic, to push as hard as possible on the battlefield on the one hand and demand as much as possible when it comes to negotiations. Unfortunately, Trump seems to be very open to at least certain demands on the side of Putin at this stage of negotiations.
Well, I mean, President Trump has committed himself and did in the election campaign to ending the war. So in a way, it's in his interest to get a quick ceasefire. But what do you think should be the Ukrainian position now? What does President Zelensky do now?
Diplomatically, I think that after the collapse of diplomacy between US and Ukraine in the Oval Office, we have seen that the situation has been more or less stabilized. And now the diplomacy of Ukraine is trying to show that Ukraine's position is as constructive as possible. For this reason, we have seen Ukraine's agreement to the ceasefire during 30 days. However, Ukraine was not ready for that before the meeting in Jeddah. And now we will be witnessing the Ukrainian diplomacy to trying to persuade basically US that Putin is not a reliable partner. And if Putin is not responding to what was proposed to him in terms of even a temporary ceasefire, why should we believe he will be thinking about a more or less stable agreement or a deal?
Some people might say it's better than nothing. You know, a 30-day promise to stop attacking Ukrainian energy infrastructure for 30 days. That is better than nothing.
That's better than nothing. However, we understand that Russia was interested in complete destruction of Ukrainians' energy system during the cold period. Now, March is pretty cold still in Ukraine, but that's not a problem anymore. The light day is getting longer, and new attacks on energy infrastructure of Ukraine will not bring those effects and those benefits to Russia, which they were looking for during late autumn and winter period. For Ukraine, however, kind of a ban, even temporary one, on striking deep inside Russia with Ukraine-produced drones, striking in Russian oil refineries, for instance, will have a more negative effect in the short-term perspective. And that's a pity that America does not want to use this tool to push Russia for concessions, because this is a very weak spot when it comes to Russian stability and resilience.
OK, Maria Zolkina, thank you very much indeed for being with us and giving us your reaction to that phone call today between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin.